Alrighty, here we go. First thing I'm going to do is just reassemble this machine that we fixed up last night and make sure it works, and then put it on testing, let it run overnight, cooking the CPU, the GPU, everything else. Make sure that it's all good before we even let the person know that we're done with it. Because if there's one surefire way of making sure that your job will be a dud, is by celebrating too early and messaging the person saying it works, it works, it works before you've actually finished testing it. Hey Mohammed, Jacob, Miles, Hot Wheels, hello, Michael Koch, PR, Jacob, Daniel, Tony W. Hey, from the Ashes, g'day. What have you been up to lately? Boris, I'm Vivek. Yeah, celebrating too early it's just too tempting to the Murphys of the universe. And they're like, we can't stand for this. Destroy this man's reputation. And I just realised I had left my glasses that I need upstairs. That is a major pain in the posterior. Ach, nee man. Well, it just wouldn't be a stream of mine if I didn't leave something somewhere. Hey Jim, you're about 30 seconds late. Yeah. Shame on you. Oop, random hair. Eddie. Yeah, Hot Wheels. Oh, I had a dodgy day today with a damned iPhone 11 screen. And the sad thing is, what happened is a couple of weeks ago, or a week or two ago, something like that, I replaced an iPhone 11 screen, and I use a high-grade replacement on them. And then the customer messages me and says the screen is lifting in the corner. And they send me photos of it, lifting, and it's about half a millimeter lift, half a mil to 1 mil lift. It's the sort of thing where visually you wouldn't pick it up straight away, but as soon as you press on the corner, you can kind of go, okay, yeah, this thing's lifting. So I said to him, look, bring it in, that's fine. It's probably just the glue has lifted. Sometimes it does that. It shouldn't, given the amount I pay for the screens, but sometimes it does. So they bring it along, and sure enough, yeah, I see it, and it's basically there's just not enough glue on the plastic frame assembly to the glass. And so I commence to, add in a bit of extra B7000 or hot glue. And I put it all back together, and lo and behold, much to my incredible amusement, the damn backlight down the bottom left hand corner had died. So now I have to replace that screen because it died most likely through my own actions when I removed it. And it's just so flippin' frustrating though, because that's the other thing, the screen itself, the phone itself, had been dropped because they had a protective glass cover on it. And when they were sending me photos, they're kind of obscuring the fact that this glass protector had been shattered. And so I'd say what happened is the drop caused the weak glue between the glass and the frame to, finally split apart. So I could have gotten away with that, just as a little bit of extra labor, no biggie, fine, I can deal with that. But no, now I've got to actually replace the whole damn screen, and as an insult, I'm not going to be able to get a refund on that from my supplier because of the fact that the fault was generated by me, which is extremely annoying. So yeah, that was like, you gotta be kidding me. And yeah, and then I didn't realize until today that iPhone 11 screens are actually LCD, they're not OLED. Because I was running around thinking, why can't I find a good quality OLED screen for the 11? It was driving me bonkers. And I kept getting referred back to the iPhone 11 Pro. And I was like, that's it, I'm going insane here. And then it dawned on me, finally, I'm a little bit slow, that yeah, the iPhone 11 is actually an LCD screen, not a OLED. But the Pro is an OLED. Okay, that is the wrong screw in there. Yeah, so anyway, one of those frustrating days. I guess I sort of got snuck into thinking it was due to the fact that the iPhone 10 and 10s have OLED. Agreeably, the XR does not. But I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just... yeah. Yeah, well, see, there you go, Miles. See, I was under the same impression. I knew the XR was LCD, but I thought everything after that was going to be OLED. And yeah, so it turns out the 11 is actually LCD. And it explains why my X and XS or 10 10S screens were costing me more than what my 11 ones were. And I was like, why is this so? Why is that the case? And now I know. It's funny the things that you run around with the assumption of, but is actually incorrect. I.e., I might run around with the assumption that I'm popular or that I know what I'm doing, but according to the subscriber numbers, I don't. Or I'm not. Okay, so I did end up ultrasonicking this board, and I think it's going to be okay. Hey, Richard Moore. Okay, I'm just going to get the alignment sort of okay on this one. I really do need to go out and get my damn glasses. Hey, Nuts and Proud. Raining in France. Aren't you guys pretty much flooded out? I heard half of Germany's flooded out. I'm not trying to be joking there, you know. That's pretty serious business. Okay, the other problem I've got right now is I actually don't even know what I'm doing. I've mixed up my screws. That's not a good thing. Okay, that feels a little more secure. Jim, I think it was a bit more than a year ago, interestingly, that I was at 20,000. Because I feel like the 30,000 took a lot longer than anticipated to come about. And what hasn't helped is YouTube shunting me off their algorithm the last couple of months. I mean, it'll be my fault one way or another. Nuts and Proud, well, that's something to be thankful for, I guess. Certainly on the news, we're hearing about all the poor bastards that are drowning, and we know what that's like here. We get a pretty good number of severe weather systems around here. $50,000 next. Yeah, hopefully. Oh, damn it, I always forget there's that big screw that's going to go in there. It's not very often that you take these daughter boards out, so you tend to forget about these other little bits that you need to put in, which means I'm going to take that screw out. Ugh, this is so frustrating. Yeah, Travis, trouble is editing is actually quite taxing. I do want to do it, but right now I don't have a system that I'm happy enough to do it on. I've got Linux and it's got KDN Live, or I usually use Shotcut, and that's pretty good. But it is actually still it's boring as hell. You do editing on videos and the first thing you think of is, oh dear God, I'm so boring, or this is taking forever, no one's going to watch this crap. And one tool I do wish that a video editor would have is something that would allow it to automatically cut out sections where there's an extended pause, and also where there's no activity on the screen and no audio. Thank you, Basil. Welcome. because when I'm doing repairs during the day, there'll be times where I just, get up and walk off, get a coffee or something like that, or I'm waiting on something else, and you just forget about those things when you're editing, and you don't usually find them. You don't realize you've left them in until you've actually uploaded it to YouTube and everyone's starting to watch it, and there's this 3-minute dead zone in your video, and you're like, damn it. Because that's the problem. You get bored with the work that you're trying to do, so you do tend to make a lot more mistakes in the editing. And that's not a good thing. I guess that's why a lot of people end up getting professional editors to do the work. And then you just have a final say when you... DaVinci Resolve, I haven't been able to use that because I did not have a NVIDIA or a GPU in the machine. Mind you, the machine I'm using now, which is the 2013 iMac 27-inch, that has, so I suppose I could try it. But chances are I'm probably just going to be better off getting a nice new Mac, or using this one behind me, this 21-inch Mac, and using whatever's recommended on MacBooks, not MacBooks, iMacs for video editing. I'm basically just sick of having to deal with all the quirks and issues that come with too many of the free software packages. I'm more than happy to pay for something that will do the job well. Like if there was I did actually originally, back in about 2002, 2003, I bought myself the best at the time Linux video editor that I could find, which was, Main Actor. And that cost me like $450 US at the time. And I was fine to pay that. I've got no dramas paying that kind of money. And it did the job pretty well. I mean, it crashed every time you looked at it wrong, but it still produced pretty good results. And then they just vanished off the face of the earth when it came to that editor. And unfortunately, it was at a time where there was a lot of transitions in the Linux system, and it didn't tend to work anymore on the newer systems so much. Hey Barry. Hey, g'day Hyperman. Yeah, I imagine you've been busy with your work. I see Hot Wheels is here. Final Cut for iMac or something like that, yeah. Yeah, Barry, now 1 million would be something nice, wouldn't it? Just do short videos of cats and upload those. Yeah. FCP, Final Cut. Oh, that's Final Cut Pro. Yeah. I'll have to see where I go. I've also got to get set up nicely, have a proper area to sit down, focus on the work I'm doing. I think that's the other problem is, particularly now, I'm working on Flexboard View a lot, going through the development 3-month process, 4-month process. It is extending out a little more because I'm actually now producing the circuit board and products for capturing the data. I'm hoping I should get my multimeters next week. That should be a nice big box of multimeters. Now, a few of you may have heard with Lewis today on his stream that he's trying to organize a grant for me to help, basically to help us, the community, capture more data for open board data. So basically, I will be just getting his money and then running the hell out of here, and no one will ever hear from me again. No, unfortunately it's not enough money to be able to get away with that crap. It's not worth it. If it was in the couple of million, I might consider it, but it's definitely not like that. It's a nice amount as a starter, and assuming it turns up. But I'm actually already going ahead with the purchases and the investments of what I need to do. I'm not bothering to wait for that grant to come through. If the grant doesn't come through, it doesn't come through. No big issue. I'm still doing it anyway. And I said that to Lewis. I said, you know, if it's just a big waste of your time for the amount of money that's involved, don't bother with it. I'll cover the cost anyway. Hey, Sudi. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm putting together a package which includes the multimeter, some good probes, the capture tool, so as in like the one I'm doing with the circuit boards is a finger activated one, but it will have headers on it so that you can have an external foot switch as well. Um, so I have that. They should be a couple of weeks away before I get the circuit boards and actually test, see if they even work. What else? And then of course, you know, license a flex board view so that people can get straight into it. So just all things like that, so that we'll be able to, you know, make more people out there be able to capture data. Now, the trouble I'm going to have here is trying to find out who to actually send this to. The reason why I'm sending multimeter is because it's nice to have a standardized meter, one that I know that's going to work. Pardon me. And what else? Oh yeah, I have to come up with a reference system, because obviously different multimeters have different diode mode circuitry. You know, how many milliamps they put through versus, you know, they should ideally all be about the same, you know, as in you should be able to measure 10k resistor being the same on all multimeters, but there's no guarantee of that. So I'm coming up for a reference system, and I think what I'll do is I'll just, like here I'm measuring a 150 ohm resistor on the diode mode, and it comes up at, I don't know why it's not showing up on screen there. That is weird. Oh yeah, wait, it's up there, I'm blind, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, this 150 ohm resistor shows up as 1.265 volts. And what I'm going to do, thank you PR for the £10, thank you, much appreciated. Let's see, now I'll probably have to send you something. So what I'm going to do is, once we all have a common reference, I'm going to make it so that in the settings and Flexboard view you can put in your reference. So in this case, say if it's your, it is the 150 ohm reference, and they're 1% resistors, so it's good enough. You put in that value, and then what will happen is when you send the data up to the server, it will adjust what you send according to your reference. Early days yet, but anyway, I'm just trying to plan ahead on this. Okay, I need to get a replacement one of these flexes because this one's got corrosion on it, and I know I've got a squillion of these, so that one goes straight into the bin, and I'll be right back. Hello, Milo. What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you after? Wow. Yeah.
Come on then. Let's go find the flex, and then we'll go back and say hello. Yeah, you can jump up. Just don't get into trouble. You know you're not even meant to be in here. Must be in my 1502 container. Ow. What are you doing, Milo? Get your snozzle out of there. Mo. Mo, what are you doing? Oh, you're chasing a gecko. You're chasing geckos. Come on. Alright. There you go. There you go. Say hello to the people. because this is the only thing that actually gets us subscribers. Hey. What are you doing? You got cobwebs on your face, buddy. Cobwebs on your face. There you go, all gone. Hey Loki, you can stay out. Alrighty. Hey Shad, how's it going? Okay, let's get back to the overhead. Now I've got that flex somewhere. Hey, wandering user. Yeah, the cats go bonkers over geckos around here. Trouble is, they eat them, and it makes them feel unwell, and then they puke up, and it's not good for them. Okay. Let's just check to see if there's even boots to start with. Barry, if only, if only. Even now, when Lewis gets on and tries to promote me, like in the early days, I would pick up 500-600 subscribers within an hour or two of Lewis making a promotion. Now, sometimes I seem to lose subscribers if he starts talking about me too much. Something about him being an influencer. Hey Pedro, how's it going? You just came today, Pedro. Oh god, this has got Big Sur on it. I don't know who did the artwork for Big Sur with the icons and things like that, but it is terrible. I really do not like the look of the Big Sur style. It reminds me of something like 1920s, 1930s type Chicago kind of thing. Hey Terry Taylor. Yeah. I mean, pretty much since, Mac OS or OS X has generally always been stylistically quite nice. I mean, so many people try to copy it. I mean, I remember back in pre-2000 with the Aqua theme and everything, everybody was copying that. But I think Big Sur is going to be one that no one copies. It's just the screen that's a bit smudgy. Art Deco, yeah, it is a bit like that, isn't it? Gregory, you like the look of Big Sur? Interesting. I just find it, yeah, it's maybe the main operating system when you're using it isn't too bad, but just those startup icons and things like that, I just don't like that theme. I suppose, when you get it, if that's the main concern about something, then I suppose it's not a big issue. Alright, I need to check the keyboard on this thing. I should have put the bottom panel on it. We'll do most of our tests now, just quickly before I do the long-term test. Okay, camera works. Microphone and speakers work. I need to make a web version of this keyboard tester. I'm probably one already exists, because there are a few machines that I can say log into, but I can't boot this test system onto. So it'd be nice to be able to log into them, bring up a web page with my testing software on it, and do the keyboard test on that as well. I know there are some already, and what they do is they just simply highlight as you press the key there aren't any that are like toggling highlights like what I've got on that software. So you can't really ascertain exactly if every key works quickly. And that is why I wrote that software, even though everyone was saying to me, but Paul, there's already plenty of other keyboard testers around. You should just use the editor, type it in as you go. And it's like, that's fine if you know, if you're monitoring each key press as you press it. But if you just want to do a bulk test like that, you can't tell. You can't tell me you can look at a bunch of text you just smashed out onto an editor and go, oh yeah, I can see a key that's not working there. Keyboard tester. Travis, does that have the toggling thing like I have? Because that's what I really need, the toggling system. Gregory, unfortunately that doesn't do the job for me either. Again, that is a case of it will indicate as you're pressing a key, but it won't flag them. Yeah, it's only when you're only key flashing, that's no good to me. I need it to persist after you've pressed it. If people are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, let me demonstrate again. Okay, like this here, see, it doesn't look like a keyboard. It's not meant to. But if I press a key, you see how it disappears off there? It's kind of like block out, that game, whatever. And so as I just run along and press the keys, it toggles them off as if to say, okay, you've pressed that, it works, you don't have to come back and press that. And so where this is useful is if you get to the end of pressing all the keys and you've got one that's still there, then you know that's a dud key. Again, like I said, this is why I don't listen to many people when they complain about why I'm doing a piece of software, because chances are I haven't explained myself properly as to why there is a distinct difference between what already exists. We don't have AST anymore, unfortunately, yeah. Okay, shut down. Shut down. I'll put the drive back in this, put the bottom panel on and set it up for testing. Mohammed, yeah, it's free software on, it's open source, it's on my GitHub. That's the other thing is, if you do have an idea and you believe in it, and from your preliminary checking, it seems like it's genuinely a good idea, but other people are telling you not to bother with it or whatever, but you still... And if you take the time to look at what they're saying and then find, it's still not covering what I'm trying to do, then go ahead, do your project, don't listen to people, just get it done and then prove the difference. And if you're wrong, and you completely misread the situation and the other software or other project actually does cover what you thought it didn't, well, at least you still got some experience in something. But far too many times when I've embarked upon projects, both software, electronics and whatnot, there's always going to be people who tell you there's no point to be doing what you're doing, or it's already been done by somebody else or something like that. And I would say 90% of the time, they're not correct. A lot of the time, the problem comes in between them not understanding what you're going to do and them not quite understanding what the other software does do. They just have this perception or belief that the other software does what they think that you are trying to do. And so they develop this sort of mental bridge that overextends the existing software and underextends your software to make it come together in the middle to say, you shouldn't bother doing that. So yeah, my advice is, if you've done your own due diligence, then just ignore everybody else. You'll be wrong a couple of times, but chances are you'll be right more than you're not. Warren, is that the online one? Because yeah, I mean, I'll check that out, the online one. Have you seen today's video on framework? I did, yes. And I was a little disappointed about the, what do you call it? The issues with not releasing the schematics. Now, I understand that Lewis can't reveal what their concerns were, but it pretty much, it sort of saddens me a lot, because I feel like we're going to end up the situation where at best we'll probably get schematics, which is a good start. But if we get anywhere near board views, they're probably going to be in schematic board views, as in they're like the current, what is it, the 820-1958 board, where you just have this coarse outline attached at the end of the schematic. A bit like iPhones at the beginning on the schematic, they always have that 1,000-mile overview of the parts. It's essentially useless for us. Yeah, Jim, I have a feeling that it's probably just going to be yet another case of you exert so much energy trying to get what you want and end up with no outcome. I would love to see them produce board views. If anything, actually, board views should be less of a legal hiccup to produce. If they're produced in the way that we utilize them, in the sense of all they are is simply a list of geographical pinpoints associated with a part and a network name. That's it. There is insufficient information in the board views like we have with the MacBooks to go and reconstruct a board. And if you do manage to reconstruct a board from that sort of information, then you've probably put in far more effort than what was required to even make that in the first place. I would like it if you could buy, like if it costs, say even if it cost $250 to buy a board view for a single board from Apple, but it was a genuine one, I'd pay that. No dramas. I'll pay that amount of money. $1,000 would be pushing it, but $250, yeah, I would. I guess it's a case of, you know, how how desperate you're going to be. From Apple's perspective, I suspect they're going to be like, well, we're going to have to make you use our board view software, and it's going to be tied into your business and everything like that. So you know it's probably going to be so much of a pain to lock it down that someone's going to want to leak it pretty quick. Okay, I'm just setting up this machine so it can run with the Valley. And then we can get on with the new machine that I'm about to have a look at. Hello, that's interesting. There's no drive showing up on this. Did I leave the drive out? I did not leave the drive out, but there's no drive showing up. Okay, that's not good news. Right, back to the work, back to the bench, take this new machine off and bring this one back down and find out why we've got no SSD. Damn it. Kelsey, there sort of is, but not properly. The problem basically comes down to the fact that your PC power, your DC power supply, like the ones we've got, they clearly don't understand the USB-C PD protocol. So what you need is another, basically just need a, where are they? Crap. Jim did send me one of those devices, and it will actually transmit the volts and current over Bluetooth. But unfortunately, I could not get that thing to work reliably. It would have been nice. I really wish they'd just drop Bluetooth when it comes to test equipment. It is a major pain in the butt. It's like Serial, or at the very worst, some sort of miniature Wi-Fi based web server. Hey JCT, thank you. It only showed external drives when you boot for. That's because I didn't have the internal drive in it. So at this point I need to work out whether it's the drive that's trucked or whether it's something else. Okay, eeny meeny miny mo. Nope. Guess we'll just try this one. Hey, Crazy Irishman. Alright, so that solid state drive works, which means this one has died. That's not going to be good. Let's have a look at it. See if we can see anything obvious. Sometimes, not very often on these ones, particularly being a Samsung, sometimes they just have a shorted cap on them. I think maybe 1 out of 10 I get of these has a dead cap on it. The other 9 out of 10 times, it's this damn controller that's just given up the ghost. So we had a little bit of corrosion there, but that should all just be ground. Oh wait, no, yep, okay, yeah, that's trouble. Alright, let's see if we can repair it. Okay, this stream has just turned into something else entirely. Shard, I don't really service them much because 90% of the time there's nothing much you can do about them. 90% of the time they're gone. Now, given the amount of damage here though, there is a slim chance we've actually just got a shorted cap. So there's hope possible. We've got one etched trace. That diode looks like it's okay. Yeah, there's a couple of traces there that are a bit etched out. That's going to be difficult to lift that without upsetting this too much. But we might be able to do it. It'll be good because we might be able to save the data. By the looks of it, it's probably one of the traces that have died. And I don't know the function of that chip. That's a problem. I don't know whether it's uniquely... Well, I don't know if it's got data that is unique to the setup. I.e., if I go and replace that, will it destroy whatever mappings or whatever is going on elsewhere? Okay, so we've got continuity there. That's not too bad, so that's good. Now this should be shorted. Yep, okay, that's good. That's meant to be, that's a inductor. Like that. So what are you? You're a 512. Oh no, you're a 128. Okay, so that's good. Because I do have plenty of those. Okay. I better make sure I don't muck up the Just gonna mark this one as in the number 294. it'd be unfortunate if I just accidentally swapped them over. Okay, so you can see this one here, the edge fill hasn't, underfill hasn't sort of, this is a 256, hasn't bled out too far. APK 5XE, APK 6UC, interesting. Okay, this is a 256, so we'll try and find a 128. That's a 128, and that's a bug with a broken wing now. Sorry, buddy, that was almost probably not my fault. Yeah. I have a feeling that one of these traces has disconnected. So I have a strong feeling that I'm gonna have to lift the chip, repair the trace, and put it back down. Yeah, that's gonna be so much fun. Alright. Well, the chip's dead anyway, so, well, it's not completely dead, but, you know, it's not in the greatest of shape. So we'll see what we can do. Now, Victoria, how are you today? How's your class going? You still teaching, or are you guys having a holiday at the moment? Hey, Rilla. I might stick this into a holder so it doesn't drift around so much. Still in class until first week of August. Oh, okay. And then what, you got holidays, or is it school holidays, or just like break for a week or something? I know. This is not running at a normal MacBook temperature. This is only at 390/40. So it's fairly low overall. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get the chip off. I have a feeling this has probably got a whopping great big ground pin on it in the middle, but we'll see. And I'm not game to try and pickle the connections with leaded solder, because I feel I'll probably just make pretty much a mess of it, and there's going to be pins that won't come up anyway. Thank you, Sudi. I might need more air. Okay, we're starting to get a melt now. Just on some of the I/O pins. Shit. Yeah, we got some push out of the balls there, that's fine, I'm not worried about that. Okay, the orientation. So how far under the pads go? Hey Gregory, Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for the $30. 1 cent per person. Alright, so yeah, we did get some push out here of the solder, but like I said, I'm not too worried about that. As long as it didn't happen here. And thankfully these chips, these memory chips, they are extremely resilient to heat. I mean, you just try to take one of them off when you want them to. It's a downright nightmare. Yeah, they really are, Mohammed. And the worst thing is that you can't go just yanking hard on it because you'll probably cause damage. Just flooding the pads with leaded will make it look nicer in a second. Just using some assist here. This is only 250, it's not enough to actually melt solder. Oh yeah, the caps moved. That moved, that moved, that moved. They all moved. Like I said, I'm not worried about it. They will come back when I put this chip back down. Now I've got to work on what's going on with these pads. Find out where they go. It'd be funny if they're both NCs. And I need a new blade. I broke the tip off my blade the other day. Once you break the tip off those things, they're pretty much useless. They should just make blades that are nothing but the tip. I suppose they do. In surgical supplies probably have blades that are just simply a very hyper refined tip on them. Hey, at Shell Shop. Joseph, I saw you made a comment about 30,000 on a previous video and then it disappeared. Did you deliberately make that disappear or was that YouTube doing something? Because I went to go and reply to your comment and it was gone. Thank you, Ed. Always appreciate it. Now I get the feeling in this case that trace actually comes in back here. And probably the same with this, because see there's no pad there. They may be NC, but I have a feeling that they probably come back, so I'm going to use my Reaper and pull back some of this cover. Yeah. If I can find the Reaper. Yeah, I'll shout. Somehow I don't think that would work so well. Probably not the ideal t-shirt. I'm supposed to be projecting a mature and responsible channel here. Just going to free these up because they'll probably need to be resoldered after that. A little bit of floating around. Mikhail Billman, why didn't you have your own coffee maker? Where's your coffee maker? Shouldn't you bring your own coffee maker? At the very least, just always at least take a French press or something. Come on, man, don't leave yourself high and dry like that. You do have to be gentle with these areas because it can be very easy to indirectly impart a lot of sideways pressure onto the parts while you're trying to dig out the stuff, and that sideways pressure is enough to dislodge. Basically, it's kind of like doing a Jessa Jones breakout, yeah, where she just snaps off parts using the skill of her blade. It's kind of like doing that without intending to. Not so much a problem on the big parts like this chip that I'm working on here, but certainly on little 0402s, 0201s, things like that, they're very susceptible to being hit that way. I know, I'm taking a pretty good amount of time here. Okay. Raw recycled teenagers, yeah, that's the sad truth. Sad reality of it is, yes. I think I've only ever really met 2 or 3 people that I could actually call adults in my life. Okay, now my theory is that these 2 pads probably connect to that diode. Maybe. I don't know. Let's just call it a theory. Well, there you go, there's one. it's almost 99% likely connected. And this one I'm fairly sure is the same, because I can see a slight change in the colouring of the over the conformal coat. Yep, there we go. Alright, so we may actually be able to recover this. I mean, you would think that that is definitely what's going on here, but I don't want to be too self-cocky, so I'm going to actually test with the other one to verify that that is actually the way it's organized. You can pretty much see it for sure here. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll just get the multimeter, 100% verify it. You'll know it's probably it. Yep. Yep, there we go. Now the fun thing for me here is how to actually best reconnect this. Because what I'm thinking is that I can actually just do a little blob from the side. Okay, I'm pretty sure, yeah, these are the two pins here. So rather than running a wire underneath them, I'm thinking more I can just do a blob bridge to the side here. Because it doesn't matter whether it's connected via this section or the underside section, as long as it's connected. Well, I suppose I probably should do the wire. The trouble with doing the wire method is, yeah, on the bottom, is that it does, of course, impart some vertical fatness. I really don't even know if that connector is viable or not. No. Run a jumper after. Yeah, that's another good option too, yes. I just don't have the confidence in this chip to sit sufficiently flat if I go with the wire on the circuit board type technique. Some chips you can do that with. This really isn't one that I feel it would work with. Yeah, I tend to agree on the wire the wire afterwards thing. Yeah. Okay, now I've got to remember which orientation I had. Where did my other one go? Okay, so pin 1 to the bottom right there. Ah, sorry. So it's pin 1 up here. I'm pretty sure that's a pin 1 marker there. Just heating up the board a bit and the chip. This is not soldering temperature. I'm just trying to get some heat soak in here so that when I do put this down it should be moderately quick. I kind of want to double verify though that that's pin 1 I'm looking at up there. It doesn't exactly show up too well. Yep, there we go. Those center pads are a problem. Ah, sticky chippy. That is not down, none of it's down properly. It's just dancing all over the place. Did I lose a pad there? That is still molten. After all that time, it's still molten. Sorry about the focus, folks. It's still not lined properly either. I realise they're not all even at the moment. It's pretty much the last thing I'm caring about right now. Okay, now we go into the wire phase. The chip should be orientated right. We're up here, pin 1, and we've got PK6U. It's kind of upside down-ish. Yeah, APK6U's there, so it's upside down, reading it right now. As far as I know, that is the correct orientation. Hey, Vladimir. Sorry if I've missed some of the chat, I apologise. I'm just kind of focusing on other things. It's actually a fairly heavy gauge trace and area on that, so it's been a little reluctant to take the solder because I can't get enough heat into it. So I'm just using a bit of 250 assistance here. Just give it a bit of a tap and hopefully it'll... It's not the wire itself is actually reluctant. It's not good. Oops, don't do that. Well, that wire just broke. Nope, gonna need a longer piece of wire. I can't control that piece. Alright, I do see that other little segment there. I think it's just the light. I can't see any bridges here. I think what it is, it's a combination of the light and the fact that the solder mask is absent around a small portion of it. I'm probably going to regret this. But amazingly, I didn't get to regret it. That's nice. Hey, Artin. Yes, brain surgery. And all of these seem fine. Now I'm just checking to see if I've got any bridges around the chip itself. Like I said, it's really poor quality, inconsistent solder work, but I'm not caring about that. I'll just, so long as it's got a connection, I'm happy. Okay, well, I think it's worth a shot. Gregory, that's an interesting question, actually. I suppose if it works, do I then fake it and say your SSD is faulty, but there's a chance I can repair it if you pay extra, when I already know that whether I've fixed it or not. So, Joseph, yeah, no, solder. If he is here, he'll be under a different name. Because he kind of pushed things a bit far the other night, and I gave him the marching orders where I basically just blocked him. I didn't want to, but sometimes some people just, yeah. Just double check the other side, make sure I haven't got any bobble outs on the other side, like that. Yeah, alright, okay. Well, we haven't quite finished yet. That's actually a bit of a concern because we've got bobble outs all the way up there. So I'm going to have to clear that whole area and check. Damn it. That was from the excess heat when I was putting the chip, stuffing around trying to get it down. I'm a little worried about that one there. This one here concerns me. Oh wait, it's okay. I thought that had come out from in here, but it's not. It's just rolled off over here. So we're going to clear this away, and hopefully we're all good. Unfortunately, it does mean we've got a bit more of a delay, but better to try and do it properly than just slap it in there and hope that it doesn't die. I am running at 250, so we're good. Because it would be tragic to have fixed that chip up only to destroy our work because we didn't double check everything on this side. Strange noises I'm hearing. Alright, there we go. So we've got one that got lifted. I'm just going to have to put this fella to the side. I have no idea what these are. I'm assuming diodes. I will actually just manually solder that cap back on. There's no point in me trying to hot air it. I'll just create more squeeze outs. We're almost there. Okay, that part is a little loose, so I'll have to put that back down too. It's actually pretty close to solder melt temperature there. That's not good. Hey, Zycom. Richard, it will be after this session. I mean, once I've determined whether this works or not, we'll get to the 1398. I could have sworn I thought that was loose. Seems okay now. Alright, keep that in mind though. Okay, so put that cap back down, add a bit of solder there, and there, and there, and wherever. We'll see how we go. Ugh. It can be quite difficult to determine what kills certain SSDs. Unfortunately, like I said, I've very little success with solid-state recoveries. It's the sort of thing where you need something like PC3000 and take all the chips off, manually dump out the data, and then start the whole recombination process. It's a little bit too much. That almost went for a walk. In a bad kind of way. Okay, let's solder it back. Let's see, I've got a little bit too much solder, and I just want to be sure I haven't bridged anything. I don't think I have, because it flowed very quickly, but I am going to remove a little bit of that leaded solder. So many of these situations, you got the one shot and that's it. And yeah, another problem we're facing here is we don't even know, for all we know, the controller's trashed. Yeah, maybe something went through, shot the wrong voltage out, and boom, it's dead. Okay. Alright. Yep, I think it's proving time now. I'm actually a little nervous. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm always nervous when it comes to customer equipment, simply because, you're respecting the equipment. But this one's more the hopeful nervousness. Well, nothing's catching on fire on the back, so that's a good start. I've got a bong, that's actually a good indication. Damn it. Nothing. No, I think that one must have just simply died. Because beyond that, there's really not much else I can do. Now, I suppose we could try and replace that chip with a different chip. But again, the problem is I just don't know what that chip's purpose is. I suppose it's, yeah, no. So unfortunately, that's a bunch of work that gave us no good. If I had to say, I would say that chip's dead. So I guess the question is, should I consider replacing the chip? What do you reckon? Replace the chip and have another shot? Yeah, true. Dead's dead, yeah. We'll take this one here. Check the caps on the bus line. Yeah, that's true. We should actually do that. That's a good point. Normally one of the first things you check, but we don't do things normally. Then it becomes a bigger rabbit hole. Yes, it does. Just really with this, you pretty much just have to go and check them all. Okay, that's a bad sign. 4.6 on that. That's not good. Let's see what it should be. Yeah, that's about 100 times too low. Yeah, that's way low. And the trouble is, we don't know what we can get away with in terms of voltages on that line. Let's see if we can find another point where it's showing up. Is that an inductor though? I think that's an inductor. No, that's the same line. And that one. Alright, so one of them, we've either got a short in here Probably wouldn't hurt for me to take this chip off, just in case it's influencing it. Steve, I've had a couple where I've had a successful repair from this sort of scenario, and yeah, the data's still good, but I will agree it's actually pretty damn infrequent. Huh, the wires actually stayed there. That's funny. Alright, so we definitely still have that short. Well, what we can do is we can put in a small voltage, like 0.5 volts. Hey Steve, what about the cap on the right of the chip? I'm pretty sure I tested them all, but I'll do it again. That there's inductor as far as I know. Yeah, that's inductor. 99% sure that's inductor. I'll check it. That looks inductorish to me. Yep, it's inductor. No, the wires are in the right place. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so whatever this rail is on there and there is shorted, and up there. I'm going to say it's probably controller or something like that that's just died. But we'll put in a small voltage and see what happens. Was it on the right, not the bottom? Well, I did test them all. Look, let me show you. Now, if you're wrong, what do I get? See that, nothing, that, nothing, that, nothing, nothing, nothing. See? If this turns out to be a shorted cap, I would say we should be considering ourselves to be extremely lucky. Like I said, I'm more than likely more expecting it to be the one of the chips is dead. Now the other thing I've got to do is work out which one's ground and which one is not. Okay, so we're going to assume that's ground there. Okay, which means the exterior one is the ground, because the interior one's reading 4.9, so ground and the positive. Let's see, now I need some wire. Miles, I don't know. That's not sure. Okay, this is ground. Shoot. And yes, lo and behold, Paul is using the same color wire on both sides. Enjoy it, JCT. Distract the South Africans from the disasters that are underway. Okay, and that's positive. Bringing in the power leads on the inside because I don't want to accidentally come over the edge and rip the wires off. We'll set the voltage and everything before I go 0 volts. I'm going to go 0.4 volts, 2 amps, so that's 800 milliwatts. That's ample to be able to find what we're looking for. And these alligator clips are absolute bliss. These are the cable assemblies I'll be including with the multimeters. I just realized that's great. Hooked up to the multimeter, what I really want is the power supply. Ground. Positive. Get the cheat camera. I'm not using constant current mode, but I just have it set at 0.4 and 2 amps. Actually, I might even drop it down to 1 amp, because really I only need about 120, 150 milliwatts of power to see it happen. There we go. But we do have about a 5 ohm resistance to work through. Ah, crap, lost my window. Right, you can see the heat actually from when we were being using the hot air and things like that. So let's turn it on and see what happens. Nothing showing up. Alright, we don't have a lot of current going through. We're basically voltage limited here, 0.4. So I'll try to go up a little bit more. So I've only got 71 milliwatts. That's definitely not enough for me to catch this. I'm gonna have to take this out. Could be on the other side. We've got 100 milliwatts now, so it's not a huge amount of heat, but it should be enough to start giving us some sort of closing in. So I'm going to flip it over. And I'm kind of dreading it's going to show up now. Alright. That's interesting. It's like it's trying to... It was like it was trying to boot and it was heating up these two areas. And then it sort of gave up. I'm fairly sure that's just a reflection. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's centralizing in the middle there. So basically, it looks, the storage chips are cactus. So we tried, but unfortunately, in this case, yeah, it's no good. Let's try it a little more. Yeah, it's the chip's what's dead. So that's really unfortunate. It's not even warm enough for me to feel it. And by the looks of it, the fact that it's sort of hovering around, it's on the other side, doesn't have that fixated point. Oh, I just realized something. Oh, it doesn't matter. I was going to say we don't have this chip on there, but that's not going to matter because we're not even testing it in the mode of functionality. We're testing it just to find out why we've got that low resistance on there. So I wish it was just a case of... Yeah, but that's just bad news seeing that. Hey Brad, subbed after a month of hearing Lewis talk about your software. I was hesitant because in the UK... Oh, come on, leave Paul Daniels alone. Yeah, I remember Paul Daniels. I grew up pretty much with him, yep. Oh, well. So, yep, that's a sad end to what was a hopeful scenario. Had that chip been closer to where we were doing the rework, I might have even considered the possibility that it was my rework that caused the damage, as in cause a short and stuff like that. But the fact that it's one of these RAM chips way over there eliminates my hand in the scenario. Oh well, that's sad. So sad. Quite right you are there, Joseph. Yeah, unfortunately, people only have backups after the fact. Right, so I'm putting it in a baggie, and I'm gonna stick the sticker code in there. I've also put in the baggie the chip that we removed, and so this person can keep that as a what could have been. Okay. Oh well, the machine works. I'll just have to message him, let him know what's going on there. I think my greatest concern at this point now is going to be that they're going to be of the opinion of, well, without the data, and if it's going to cost me a couple of $100 for another drive, then the machine itself is not worth repairing to me, and I don't really want to have it repaired, so don't do the job. And it's like, well, the job's already done. Okay. Alright, let's move to the 1398. Here's hoping we have a little more success with that. Yeah, Gregory, the issue being, of course, they may not even want to go ahead with it, because it's going to approach that 1/3 threshold type scenario. I.e. where the cost of the repairs exceeds 1/3 of the perceived value of the unit. And when it gets to that point, quite often people would just prefer to walk away from the job. It's a 128, so I've got a few of those sticks around. So worst case scenario, I suppose I'll just sort of go, look, I've got a couple, so here you go, have this one, whatever. Particularly if it means I get to keep the job. Okay, things are a bit of a mess here, so I'm just going to clean up quickly. Yeah, better to not quite make as much money, but still get the job. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, I would have been fine to actually accept the machine, the chassis, as payment, as in trade-off. Like, I pay them $50 or whatever. Yeah, that's right, I pay them $50, and I get to keep the machine. But these days, I do love the A1502s, and that is a 2015 model. But it is getting to the point now where I'm trying to walk away from those models, and if I'm going to buy things off people, then I don't really want it to be anything later or older than 2016 sort of type era. Enjoy the paper, yeah. Nothing like writing papers. Right, there's my paper towel. The screen, at least, on it is worth something. It's probably the only thing worth anything on those machines now is the screen. You can still get them for $400 or $500 now, the screens. I've noticed that A1466 screens are pretty much free-falling now. Like, it used to be $350 for a 1466 screen. Now I can find them for $150, no trouble. $100 if you really dig around. And of course I've got a bunch of them myself anyway. Alright. Okay, so next job. 1398. Hello, what's going on here? Why Hello? Hello? That's weird. That's very weird. What's going on with your barcode? Sorry. Weird. Should work now. There we go. That's better. Alright, so what have we got here? It used to boot with internal screen, sometimes normal, but sometimes internal screen wouldn't work upon boot up. External screen via HDMI port would... looks like I'm going to have to actually read it on my job sheet. 743. Let's see. It would external port would always work. After about 3 months on off the internal screen, the computer will only work with the external. Then 2 months later, the computer will freeze on boot with the external and not load the operating system. Alright, so whatever it is getting progressively worse, which kind of implies corrosion issues. Crikey, it's 12:30 already. It's a very nice, clean machine, this one. I'm not really sure what to think of this one. It's pretty sure this is not the 3332 model. This will be a 163 or a 426 or something like that, I think. Yeah, so I'm thinking it might be the VRAM, not VRAMs, the VREGs. It's about the only sort of thing off the top of my head that would match that sort of pattern. It's either corrosion or VREGs. There's a good portion of dust in there. It's not that bad. And yeah, it's it's a 138 board. Okay. If I can't find any corrosion, then I'll just drop and replace the VREGs. To be fair, with these models, you pretty much should always replace the VREGs anyway. At the moment, you can swap them with FDMF 3030s. Okay, just gonna double check that I'm using a plastic spudger. Some of those battery connectors are genuinely difficult to get out. Time to take it very delicately careful getting these Wi-Fi antennas off, because these ones are horribly prone to just disconnecting, and then it's a real pain of a job to crimp them back on. Now, by the way, if any of you out there are interested in participating in the open board data capturing process, and say if you don't already have a FlexBoard View license and you don't have a suitable multimeter, but if you do have access to known good working mainboards, then please do send me an email and see what we can do for you. Obviously, I want to make sure that I can stretch the the amount of money that comes in the grant as far as possible. So if you don't have to have, if you have a multimeter that I already support, then it sort of makes sense for me to not send you another multimeter. The other possibility is if you have a meter that's a little bit different to the one I've got, then let me know, and maybe if I can get my hands on one, like if I use the grant perhaps to purchase different meters that other people have, write the software for it, and then I can give the meters to someone who needs one after I've written the software for it, if you know what I mean. So the grant kind of acts as a bit of a just a cash, bit of fluidity of cash. However, like I said before, I've got no problem spending that money myself. I believe in the cause, in part because it helps me too, because obviously the more data that we have in open board data, the better for everybody. And once I'm happy with how things are, I can start writing the open board data module for open board view, because obviously it's not going to be just limited to FlexBoard View. That would just be a low, dirty way of doing things. If I sort of get everybody to make their contributions and then go, oh yeah, sorry folks, it's only for my software. No, that's not going to be how it works. There will also be web access to the data, so you'll be able to say go to the web page for open board data and look up the board drafter and get the entire array of values that are associated with it. The only reason I haven't done that right now is because I'm focusing on the acquisition end, and I've already done all the work I need to for FlexBoard View to use that data. So this is just the preliminary stage. Oh, look, watercraft. Why don't you just take a hike? I do see something that looks like corrosion on here. An O2020. Oh yeah. Yep. It would be nice if we had board views for some of them too. Yes. It's just fluff. I thought it was corrosion, but that's fluff. It is about the right time for the trolls to start appearing, around about midnight here. Midnight, 1 o'clock. It seems to be when they all wake up from their slumber. That's okay, Joseph. I don't expect you to do everything around here. You already do so much. Okie doke. Let's look for some corrosion. It is a little strange though, if it is the VRMs, that it affects the displays. That's the only thing that's kind of not sitting quite right with me. It could actually be the daughter board, come to think of it. Oh dear. starting to think it's going to be the daughter board. Yeah. Nothing jumps out at me with that main board yet. So I'm just going to take the daughter board out and have a look at that. I suppose one way I could have... What I should have done, instead of yabbering away while I was disassembling it, I should have just simply disconnected the daughter board and had it see if it would boot. It's that simple. That's all you have to do. And guess who didn't do it? Me. Great. So it's 0 for 0 right now. Damn it. Not good. I'd say it's probably just one troll coming in with multiple accounts. It's pretty normal. Alright, at this point I'm going to put it back into the chassis and I'm going to see what Nick Facey. Well, we got kind of sidetracked by trying to fix an SSD for 1502, and unfortunately it wasn't a win, but yeah, we gave it a shot. Unfortunately, it turned out that the one of the RAM chips is SD RAM chips is basically cactus, So it was the end of the parade for that. So what I'm going to do at this point is see if it will boot at all with nothing but the screen connected, and work our way back up. Because as you know, it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine to go yanking parts off a board that otherwise looks visually fine. Okay, screen's connected and nothing else, which reminds me I do need to set the power supply back. I am going to put a test USB stick in. Kind of helps if I turn on the power. Alright, we are drawing about right for this machine. Thank you, Nick. Hopefully I'll get to 100 fast enough. Okay, dipped off a little bit there, 830. It's less than what I'd expect. Hey John Clough, welcome. Thank you for joining. It's probably going to be a dud night though. Oh well, we'll see what we can do. Now the reason why I'm waiting is because I'm not sure whether, because I don't have a keyboard connected, I can't invoke it to bring up the boot list. But it's looking a little sus here. It's trying, but it's definitely not getting anywhere. I'm just going to put the chipmunk in and see if the chipmunk can tell us anything. I might put a speaker in as well, just in case it's going beep, beep. I doubt it, but can't hurt. Come on, don't be angry. Ugh, me. It's gonna be angry. Okay, chipmunk reports SO is okay. That's interesting, we just got a boot. So it could well be the VRAMs. Not VRAMs, the VREGs. Yeah, we're still booting there. Hey Micromage. It's hard to say if the backlight is on with these ones. Measure that voltage and have a look. Disconnect first. Oh, Mr. Lemon, thank you very much for the €5. Hopefully we'll get to 40,000 a little bit quicker. Ah, damn these board views. They're not really a match. So with this, it shows there's 3 parts up here. But if I show you the board, you'll see there's not. With this particular model, between this, the what is it? The 163 and a couple of others, they all seem to have a mismatched set of components around this area. It's like they've interleaved with each other, and so you have to keep switching back and forth to find the right ones. But in this particular case, pretty sure backlight's going to be that one there. It's the one with the big fat hefty trace on it. And then we've got the guard trace there, which is basically a no connect. So we'll try and measure that without my glasses. That's pretty brave of me, but looks like we're going to have to do it. I'm going to cheat here with the chipmunk. So I can put my multimeter cable ground onto that, and that way I don't have to try and hold the ground pin on anything. I just stick my little probie on here, and I better change to volt mode. Okay, I think I've got a half a chance of getting this. Yeah, we ain't got nothing there. So we've got no backlight, but we don't know why we've got no backlight. It's fine. We'll check our resistance to ground on that pin. Okay, it's open circuit as far as it's concerned. Yeah, so that's fine. Time to start digging around and having a look at various values and seeing if we can find anything that looks amiss. Unfortunately, I don't believe I've got any values for this one. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Nope, no data. No one yet has put anything in for the 138. So if I get this to work, then I guess I'll be the one putting in things for the 138. Let's get a quad display. Ow. 3662. Okay, the one I was on the other day. Fuse is good. Okay, we do have 514 points for the 3662. Wait, what? What just happened then? Where did all that data go? I swear we had data for the 3662. Shit. Yeah, we do. We definitely do. We've got a whole lot of data for 3662. Okay. Fault with my software? Probably. I'm not sure what's going on here, but this is a bit of a disappointment. Well, I definitely know I've got data because I'll show you some of it. It's all here. So yeah, there's this. I'm not sure why it's not loading. Clearly I've made a mistake. Oh well, this is what Lewis must feel like. I wonder if there's actually a problem in the... here we go. Let's see, Apple... yeah, remove the data. There's nothing in it. I don't think it's a server problem because I can pull down the raw data and it shows up. And the server is responding. Like if I do the search, it does give me the path and data. Yeah, that one's got me stumped. I'm sure I'll find it when let me check some other board views. Maybe I've got a fault in my code in the latest version. So 3437, I mean we definitely know we've got data there. Okay, through download. Okay, I've got a fault somewhere. Wonder what's going on. Sorry folks, I've got to find out what's going on here. Ah, I know what the fault is. Crap. Okay, think, Paul, think. Alright. Fingers crossed I may have fixed it, but maybe not. Yep, fixed. Okay. Phew. That was a bit of a panic. Alright, there we go. 514 nodes. Yep. No, the problem was that the server ran out of room, and because the server writes the file that I'm downloading into a yeah, it obviously uses temporary space periodically, and it was just bumping at the end of that. So yeah, that's why that got screwed up. Anyway. Let's see. Trying to think what I'm looking for here. I just noticed that this backlight section does not match the 138's backlight section. So let's go back to the 138. And that doesn't match, so we'll try the 163. And the 163's backlight section matches. And also, yeah, so the 138 and the 163, at least the board view for the 163, they match in terms of overall most bits and pieces for the backlight and the display, but for other areas they don't. Now the only trouble is I do not have any data for this board as far as I know. Preferences, search. Yeah, there's nothing for the 163. Alright then. Crud. I think what's not helping is my brain's starting to rot at this time of the night. And so I'm just not thinking clearly. I think I might have to just do this one tomorrow because I feel like I'm not thinking clearly, at least not for board repair, and I'm probably looking in all the wrong areas on this one. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, to be fair. I'll just do a quick edge on look, see if I can find anything. Because I would sooner say that the reason we don't have a backlight is more to do with it being told not to run the backlight, as opposed to there being a fault with the backlight. Yeah, I can see there's a little shiny thing in the middle there, but that's not a problem. It's just a bit of random dust. So I would start actually considering blaming the SMC or something like that, or maybe lid sensor. But we'll just have a quick look at edge on See if anything jumps out. I was genuinely expecting something corrosion related, given the intermittent on-off activity. And then I was expecting it to be the daughter board, but again it wasn't that. But as I said before, I do not like just randomly changing out parts when you've got a clean looking board like this. Because it's bad enough dealing with rabbit holes without digging your own to go with it. And of course, naturally, I'm going to go and do software coding after this. That's probably why my code takes forever to get released, because yeah, I just do coding at the worst times. I could almost blame the lid sensor. But yeah, I normally am used to seeing really dirty lid sensors, and that one's pretty damn clean. Geez, even the MagSafe is beautiful clean. I'm sorry everybody, but yeah, it's not really the greatest of successes tonight. I mean, sure, we put together the 1502, but unfortunately, yeah, we had that SSD issue. And this one, we're just best waiting for the light of day before I make any further decisions on it. Yeah, for all we know, maybe it's just a bad controller chip for the backlight, that chip there. But again, like I said, I don't like swapping out parts without having a reasonably good reason for doing so. Alright then, well, I suppose 30,000 says it all, eh? R7702, I'm not even going to check. I'll check tomorrow. I'm pretty much done now, so I'm out of here. Thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully we'll pick up another 30,000 in a year. Unlikely, but you never know. Alright, I'm out of here. You all take care. I'm going to go do some coding, improve Flex Board View, and I'll see you next time. Catch you later.